Hello, North Central Washington, and welcome to Networked. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and I am so delighted to be back in the studio here today with a special guest, Jennifer Bushong from JBE Marketing Group. Jennifer is going to be coming on air in just a few minutes to share a little bit about her background, her passion for always marketing, and also will share a few tips for you to consider whether you're a nonprofit, a small business owner, or even in the public sector. Don't go far. We'll be right back here in studio. And welcome to Networked. I am so excited to have our guest today, Jennifer Bushong with JBE Marketing Group. Welcome to Networked.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We were talking offline. I was sure I have had you on the show before. I mean, you've been such a close friend to the Tech Alliance over the years. So this is really fun to finally get you on air and introduce you to our audience.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yes, we've been busy the last few years, and it's great to be here.
Yeah. Well, as I just mentioned, you've been a great ally and friend to the Tech Alliance. Our nonprofit's been in the community since 1999, and you've been one of the, really founding partners of our organization. But before we get into that, I'd love for the community, if they haven't, met you before and all the hats that you've worn over the years, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm Jennifer Bushong. I'm a true proclaimed marketing geek. So I tend to follow and surround myself around outstanding people that love marketing. And I'm really, truly passionate about it to the point where I was born and raised here. I wasn't born here. I was raised here. I went to the University of Washington, studied communications. Happened to work for great organizations when I was there, both the Seattle Supersonics, they were a basketball team at the time, to Seafair, and then landed a great job out of college with a telecom company. It was a Fortune 500 company. And worked there a few years, happy to excel, learn some leadership and coaching, things like that, and then went from there to Fisher Broadcasting. And so really had a great communications background. Later in life, I went back and earned my master's degree in communications with an emphasis in public relations. Started my marketing firm somewhat about 7 years out of college after I worked for Fisher Broadcasting, and happened to fall in love and meet the Technology Alliance at the time. And so that was just a great opportunity to help GWADA before it was NCW Tech, and as well as some other accounts. So that's a little bit of my background. I continue to this last fall, I taught Communications 220 at the college. And so I tend to surround myself with great people and continue to hopefully give back.
And we're going to talk a lot about some marketing insights in our next segment. I know it's something you're really passionate about, but I'm interested to kind of tag into, you came from a background with really big organizations. You're talking about the professional sports team, Fortune 500 companies. But the principles of those marketing still apply into small organizations in our community, right?
That's right. I mean, I think as we tell our students too, you are going to always have those 4 basic principles of marketing. I talk a lot about the 5th principle, which I like is we say the people. Obviously, you're going to have your product place, promotion, and placement, but we talk a lot about that, and that's definitely the people make all the difference in your organization.
I agree. People make all the difference. And, for companies that maybe don't have a large enough team to have a communications professional on staff or a marketing vision on staff, I think that's what JBE Marketing has really come in and done. I mean, let's talk about that a little with the Tech Alliance, right?
Yeah.
Small nonprofit.
Right.
And at the time you started to help the Tech Alliance back in the early 2000s, there was no staff.
Right. Oh, and thanks. Kudos to Jenny Reckel.
Yes.
She's been an amazing mentor, I know, to probably both of us and many young entrepreneurs in the region. But definitely, so she reached out. JBE at the time, I had a small staff. I had another part-time marketing manager, and we helped, I think at the time, create some of your membership packets. At GWADA, we created, helped with the Innovators Awards, and I remember one event that was pretty cutting edge at the time. We did an event at the Confluence Technology Center and at the same time at Big Bend Community College. So the event, and then we simulcast the event. And so it was kind of one of those new opportunities to like, hey, how can we do a live event? This was before Zoom.
Right.
This was before Teams.
Yes.
And so it was just a great opportunity. People are like, wait, at the same time? Yes, at the same time. So it was nice to, basically really explore some things back in the early 2000s. I remember Facebook was, obviously started, but we had them before MySpace. Right. And then I was like, oh, okay. We were a little bit apprehensive to get on to Facebook. And Jenny's like, no, I really think this is where we need to be. This is, the next level. And so obviously really encouraged, I know our firm at the time, we embraced that. And I think it was 2004. So I was probably a little bit of a late adapter to Facebook. But we did. And so it's been a great opportunity. I know the Tech Alliance, I think we worked with them for about 5 years before they hired a full-time executive director.
Yeah. I love sharing that context because for some people tuning in today, the Tech Alliance has been doing programming in the community for now over 22 years.
Right.
And it's, really fun to see those highlight examples of what was revolutionary simulcasting events.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, when now we've gotten really used and comfortable to Teams and online formats. And obviously the pandemic opened that to social media series, where social media for business, really, there wasn't a lot of adoption in our community. Right. And people didn't understand how to use that. People still struggle to use that. It's always a changing field.
Right.
But maybe we'll talk a little bit more in the next segment about, how you use social media and tools. So, but let's go a little bit about JBE marketing today.
But so you're right. So we do fill the gap, and that's really where I think where we help companies. So oftentimes we're hired particularly for 1, maybe 3, 5-year terms. So long term, we're really wanting to dive deep. One company may hire us because we're doing more company culture and they already have a full-time marketing director. But we're coming in at another level, supporting that obviously marketing team, communications team, and maybe providing some other coaching. So we look at we take a look at the whole marketing plan, really from a high level. And then we also then go from everything from the high level strategies to possibly the communication. How is this department working with this department? So we really look at the whole process, or they might just hire us and say, you know what, we just want you to manage our social media and our digital, and we want you to create so many ads a month and handle our press conference. And that's all we would do for them. So it can go either way. We're kind of filling those gaps though, but we like working with and we feel very grateful. We have great clients right now across the state, not just here in Chelan and Douglas County, but we're really working across Washington State. And a lot of those teams do have communications managers. They've been there for a long time. And they're excellent at what they do. But now we can come and to kind of take some of that breath away. COVID changed everything, Jenny. We can now, of course, as you know, we can talk to someone in one county in 1 hour and another county in another hour. So we can basically be on Zoom, Teams, GoToMeeting. We've learned them all. However they communicate, we can come in at that other level. We might give them a couple tips as we dive in, but that's what we're doing. So we're doing overall strategic marketing. We're doing digital communications, a lot of public relations, and really helping really feel what they need. But every client's a little different. Everyone communicates differently. As we know, every culture is different, and they're not going to always embrace our culture. We try to embrace their culture and just make it better, and really just take some of that weight off of some of these amazing communications people that have done a lot in a short amount of time, or they may be like so tired because they had to fill someone else's job because they're still trying to hire other people. So we can come in and say, until that time, it might be a year, it might be 3 years, let's help you. And let's get you to where you need to be so you're not so taxed, because we want the CEO to stay, we want the marketing director to stay, we want you to have those profits that you need and or that public outreach that you need.
So I'm hearing it's really, like you said, it's unique to every client, but you're adding capacity for those who already have kind of communications processes in existence
Yeah.
so that they can elevate or fill a gap or get some coaching. But also for those firms, take Tech Alliance back in the day when we were so small, just board run, taking over things like social media so that content continues to grow.
And we know that social media is daily. It's something that you need to do daily. You need to have a plan. You need to know what your message, you need to know what the image looks like. It's not something you can just decide to do in one day. You need to have that strategically planned out, but that needs to mirror, and we can talk about this in your next segment, the overall marketing plan, which needs to be within your business plan. And I know I had she reached out to me a few weeks ago, and a CEO, and she said, oh my gosh, my marketing team's spending about 10 hours a week or more just creating on social media. I said, probably. They probably are. It's not something that you can just, they think you can snap a picture and put up an ad. Granted, sometimes you can, but a lot of times for good social media, you need to really plan it out, and it needs to have that message needs to be, like I said, interwoven into your marketing plan and into your business plan.
And, before we head on, maybe let's just build on that social media piece for a second. There's still companies that haven't embraced that, and that like social media is really such a dominance in marketing now.
Right.
What would you tell to someone who's watching today who just says, you know what, I don't feel like I don't need to be on social media. Like,
well, I would say, definitely know the distinctions too, because we talk about digital communications, we talk about social media. A lot of times it gets mucky, and for lack of better terms. But that is, so definitely know, like, who are you trying to reach? Who's your customer? What do you want to do? And I think when you look at we look at data, like I said, I'm a self-proclaimed marketing geek, so we are data driven. And people are like, oh, don't you just show up for an event, take a couple of pictures and invite people to get there? Well, you can, but we really look at the strategies behind that. We look at the data behind that. And so certain data will maybe say one thing, and then we really try to take a look at what the message might be.
And inform whether like, oh yes, you should be on Facebook, but you don't need to be on Instagram, or
we're looking at a lot of Google Analytics. We're doing a lot with Hulu now, and just kind of some of those larger platforms. So then how can we play in those backgrounds versus, maybe Facebook's not the platform we need anymore. So
right.
It depends upon the client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait to talk more about marketing strategies. We do have to head out to a commercial break, but don't go far. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to part 2. We've been on air with Jennifer Bushong from JBE Marketing Group. Had so much fun catching up in the first segment and sharing a little bit about your story. I'd love to talk more about your company, but starting with your team.
Oh,
right. And you already said it. People. It's all about people.
That's right. It's all about people and creating a great culture. And that's why I'm so excited to have reestablished my marketing firm, JBE Marketing Group. And with that, I hired an experienced and very talented digital designer. Her name is Danielle Johnston. And so her background, she has her degree in digital design. She had 10 years experience working in both the business community all around Washington State. And so I'm happy that she's here and back in Wenatchee and working for us. And then we had a summer marketing assistant job open. And so I hired a marketing major from Washington State University. He's going into his senior year. And so he's with us this summer, and he's going to be working on some databases and learning email marketing, and working. One of our clients we feel grateful for is Ace Hardware. And so he's working, gets to lean in on some of that too. So it's been great. So I have a great team. I truly believe in giving back. Always have worked and hired both marketing students, and believe that they're energetic. They kind of keep it fresh, young. They always show you a new app that you might not have thought of, and good or bad. I like to know what's going on, and I always say the students know best. So,
well, I really appreciate your commitment to bringing in internship experiences. Those are hard to get, and a lot of companies are so stretched thin that sometimes they don't put out those opportunities, even if they may want to. So,
right.
And I think that's something we didn't dive into before, but you spent years at the Town Toyota Center developing a lot of initiatives that really support youth in the community. I know it's something you're really passionate about.
I am. I think that we have we can learn a lot from students. Yeah. They're always, yes, they're in the classroom and they're learning their book smarts, but a lot of times we can give them, exactly what we do as an entrepreneur or we do as a business owner. But I think there needs to be a happy medium because they're seeing what they're seeing especially from a digital world. Mm-hmm. They see what they're doing every single day. I mean, back in 2014, I served as at the arena, and we brought in a marketing student, and he said, there's this new app I think we need to be on here for the Town 20 Center. It's called Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. It's probably, isn't that for weddings and photos? Right. Maybe for do a wedding show. Right. And obviously, we can see what Instagram has done. It's, right. Billions of people view it every day, and we would be very, as a marketing people. Right. So, I think there's always these new apps daily that are probably coming out that we need to really stay abreast to. We need to understand what they do, and they may not be right today, but they may be right tomorrow. Mm. And that's why marketing is so fluid, and that's why I love it so much.
Well, let's dive into that. Tell me, what is the benefit of staying abreast of these things or partnering with a consultant and a firm to help your business? How can a company start to build a marketing strategy? I'd love to hear some of your advice there. So
a couple of those questions. So I think every client's different. Mm-hmm. So I think what we do is we come in and kind of give that kind of air to breathe. Mm. So, because it does sound very overwhelming. Like I said, we look at data, we look at strategies, we look at current culture, what you're doing, what is your capacity, and it might be where your business is not ready to do X, Y, and Z yet. But we look at your overall, what's your mission or your statement? A lot of times people are like, oh, I think we have it somewhere written down in the file.
Right. So it's on the back of a door somewhere.
Right. Do we really breathe that mission statement? Do we know what that is? Does that really represent our culture today, or was that our culture 10 years ago? And then we look at the vision. Well, we really wanted to be the number one store in Washington State. Well, how come we're not? So does that really resonate today? So we really look at what was your mission? What is your vision? Is that true today? Do we really need to start there? From a strategy standpoint, we use everything from, I know people have used the SWOT model to, to the different SMART model. To take a look at their different measurements and attainable and goals and where we want to go. So we use both. Obviously, we write out real plans and we look at everything. But really, starting with capacity of teams. And that's sometimes why they hire us, because they don't have the capacity. They know they need to get there, but they have great talent, and their talent is busy. Yeah. Their talent's already tired. Right. And they've been doing so much during COVID and after COVID. We call it the COVID recovery. Yeah. We're in the COVID recovery, and everyone's at a different place. Some people still want to be on screen. Right. And some people still want to communicate and have that teamwork there. So everybody's a little different. So to answer those strategies, yes, we look at the company, we look at your mission, we look at your vision, we look at your goals, and then we kind of take a look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and really how can we, and then where you want to go.
Tell me a little bit about why looking at, say, like a vision or mission statement, and threading that through a marketing plan is so important. Like tell us about the impact of having consistency there with brand.
Definitely. And really branding, I love branding too. Branding is everything. Branding, people think, oh, branding, I need a new logo. We don't really need that, Jennifer. Well, branding's not your logo. Branding is about everything. It's about the symbol. It's about how you feel. And, I always, I think someone termed it and said, it's the gut feeling about your product and your service. How do you feel? Maya Angelou said, it's not what people, people do not remember what you say, but remember how you made them feel. And that's similar to branding. You want to feel good. When you leave a restaurant, you want to feel like that was the best service I had, and that was excellent menu, and you feel good about it. That extends your brand. I'm going to go back there. I'm going to give them a second chance. I'm going to be a loyal customer. And that's all about branding, is how you feel. That what does the company evoke? And so that's why you want to carry that mission and vision, because you want every single employee, the ultimate goal, right, would be every single employee would those words, those passionate words that you're writing down, every single employee believes in those.
Yeah, and brings that through.
And brings that to the table.
Whatever service they're providing.
Absolutely.
I love that example of a restaurant too, because you're right. They're not walking out going, oh, that was a cool logo. Right?
No, they're saying that I felt really good when I walked in the door.
Yeah,
they greeted me. They're like, asked for my coat. They said, oh, you could smell wonderful things in the air. Yeah. You felt happy. You felt secure. You felt like you could relax, whatever it might be. Some restaurants, you walk in and they want you to feel very proper. Other restaurants, you walk in and you know that you can take your shoes off and sit on the floor. It depends upon, what vibe you're giving.
Right.
But same thing with any company that we deal with. Every company is different, just as every, handprint's different. So.
And you don't work just with businesses, like kind of corporations. You're also working with public sector, nonprofits. Do the principles apply across those two, or how's it tailored different?
I think marketing principles do apply to across the sectors. However, everyone communicates a little differently. Currently, we're not doing any nonprofit work. We do a lot of public sector work. We're doing a lot from everywhere from healthcare to hardware. I kind of say, and everywhere in between, and that's true. And we feel, but like I said, very grateful that we're working with outstanding clients that are truly smart. And I like to say, they're smart enough, they know that they need our help, which is great. But at the same time, we've seen them grow. And it's been really exciting, especially in the last year, that we've had our company that we can kind of see and we have data to support that. But, I think that's kind of why I love marketing.
Yeah. Well, if someone's watching today and maybe they're not quite ready to bring in, a professional, but they're starting to think about, their marketing, their vision, what are some tips that they could be thinking about right now, or some strategies that they could start to explore as they move to that next level?
So I would definitely look at, the first thing is, what is your brand? Make sure that you have that embraced. Make sure that what is your employees? What are they saying? And maybe look to them. And maybe it's departments. Maybe you have, say, for instance, a sales department and you have a marketing department. Maybe it's separate. Maybe you have a finance. A lot of times people forget that the finance people are the ones not only cutting the checks, but they see the day-to-day. They're probably data-driven. They probably have their hands on some of those things. So ask them, how do they relate to that mission and vision? What does it mean to them? Because they need to work together with the sales and the marketing teams, and everything should flow together. So I would say, start there.
Start at home.
Start at home. Start with your employees. Your own employees are going to be your best advocates for your company. We used to always say, like, hey, if you're not sharing that message, whether the marketing director would do a post and then it would just sit there. Well, how come the finance people as well as the operations people can all like that post? That's the least they can do. They can share the post. They can tell someone we're not all, I always say we're all in sales. It's not just because that's the salesperson's job does not mean that you can't tell your family and friends about the event that we're having coming up, or the sale that we have, or the strategy that we need. Everyone, if you're getting a paycheck or if you're a volunteer.
Since 1999, NCW Tech Alliance has served as our regional hub for technology innovation. As a 501c3, their nonprofit mission is to connect people and technology resources to create a thriving community. You can network with the team and guests from today's show by visiting them at www.ncwtech.org.